In this video, I'm going to explain two important things to you: how to become an Airbnb superhost and why you should become one. Airbnb superhost status, which is basically like the icing on the cake of Airbnb hosting, is given only to the most deserving of hosts. It's an authority on the platform that not only comes with a shiny badge, but will give you your listings priority in an Airbnb search, which will bring you more guests and ultimately more money, and not to mention an unlimited amount of bragging rights. So how do you get there? Here is a step-by-step guide to achieving superhost status, along with all the benefits you'll have. But first, you may ask, what is a superhost on Airbnb? You see, an Airbnb superhost is someone who provides exceptional guest experiences for Airbnb users. It's only granted by meeting a set list of criteria from Airbnb. And when these measures are followed, superhost status is given to you automatically and there is no need to apply. The Airbnb superhost program focuses on the core elements of hospitality. And just because you're staying in a home doesn't mean you shouldn't experience hospitality. I'm talking about commitment to quality, guest communication, guest satisfaction, and the entire experience of renting a property on Airbnb. And while hosting comes in all shapes and sizes, these elements are the common denominator in hospitality expectations. They are also the elements that time and time again make all the difference. So what are the Airbnb superhost requirements? To gain your status as a superhost, you first must be a primary host with an account in good standing and who has met the criteria set out by Airbnb. The question goes beyond how many reviews it takes to become an Airbnb superhost. The status is earned by excelling in these areas measured over a year's time. The first is communication with at least 90% response rate to guests. There's also commitment, which means no cancellations, barring unusual circumstances or guest cancellations. Guest satisfaction, which is at least 80% of reviews must be at a 5-star rating. Experience, you must have hosted at least 10 completed trips. Now this is going to be step 1, hosting at least 10 trips. That's pretty much straightforward. If you haven't hosted 10 trips yet, just get as many bookings as quickly as you can. Also, make sure to optimize your listing search ranking to get more bookings and start out with a competitive price. It sounds simple enough, especially if you're renting out multiple properties, but if you're struggling to meet this requirement, update your listings profiles with high quality photos of your rentals that present them in the best light and appeal to travelers. You can also consider offering a limited time promotional sale, since nobody can resist a good bargain, and in the long run, the extra bookings will make up for the price difference. Number 2, no cancellations in the last year. You can't have any cancellations in the last 365 days, but there are 2 exceptions. The first exception applies if you're using Instant Book. In that case, you're allowed to cancel 3 times penalty free. That is only if you feel uncomfortable with the guest. Also note that a calendar that wasn't updated is not a valid reason to cancel. Now the second exception applies when there are unusual circumstances. These can include any unexpected death or serious illness, a significant natural disaster or severe weather conditions, or any urgent travel restrictions. If you can only host until a fixed date, maybe because you have a long-term renter or you're moving back into your house, don't use the booking window setting, but manually manage your calendar's availability. Number 3, at least 90% response rate. Once a year, Airbnb pulls out its calculator and works out the average amount of time it takes you to respond to each new message. To pass the test, you need a response rate of at least 90%. This might be the most difficult part of being an Airbnb host, but thankfully, there are some automation tools that have got you covered. Property management software solutions like Guesty are equipped to send pre-written messages to guests at specific times throughout their stay. The best part is that your guest information is inserted into the template, making each message seem more personal. Now, in the event that a guest asks you a question that you do not have the answer to, the best thing to do is answer them ASAP with a simple message saying that you'll get back to them once you have an answer, and Airbnb looks at the response time, not the response itself. Again, this is fairly easy, but there can be some confusion as to how this is measured, so it's worth elaborating a bit. Here is what's stated on the actual Airbnb website. Your response rate is the percentage of new inquiries and reservation requests you responded to. This is by either accepting, pre-approving, or declining within 24 hours in the past 30 days. Your response time is the average amount of time it took you to respond to all the new messages in the past 30 days. If you've received fewer than 10 new message threads in the past 30 days, your response rate and response time will be based on the 10 most recent message threads from the past 90 days. The response rate to determine Superhost status is calculated differently and is based on your responses over the past 365 days. You can easily get a 100% response rate if you automate your guest communication with a tool like Guesty. It's affordable and totally worth it if you really want to get Superhost status. Airbnb did a study on why 1.6 million hosts didn't qualify for Airbnb Superhost status, and a whopping 67,000 hosts didn't respond to questions within 24 hours. This is such a no-brainer since you can do this automatically without any extra work. Number 4, at least 80% 5-star reviews. Superhosts must have at least half of their guests review their property. Some ways to encourage guests to leave a host a review include promptly leaving a review of your guest after their visit, politely leaving a request to leave a review in a welcome package with instructions. This can be done via Airbnb or in a printed booklet at the property. An example would say, maybe, "Thank you for your stay. We hope you've enjoyed yourself. If you enjoyed your visit, would you kindly leave a review to inform other travelers?" And if you want to go the extra mile, consider leaving a small gift such as a box of chocolates, maybe some tea or coffee, or maybe even a souvenir. You also want to be messaging guests after their visit to thank them for their stay and request a review, but do not do this more than once so as to avoid annoying your guests. Also remember that what goes around comes around, and in this industry that translates from service to reviews, providing a 5-star service will earn you a 5-star review. Airbnb will remind your guests to leave a review, but you shouldn't have any problems with personally asking guests for a 5-star review. After all, you work hard, so you deserve the credit when it comes to Airbnb. And don't let a couple of bad reviews here and there scare you too much. Remember, to pass this test, only 80% of your reviews need to be 5-star, providing you with a little wiggle room. If a less than great review is honest, take that opportunity to learn from it and better yourself as a host. Airbnb will provide you with personal stats of your ratings and even takes progress into account, so don't panic when an occasional less than 5-star review comes along. Number 5, maintain a 4.8% overall rating. This is the toughest condition to become a superhost. The reason is that this is outside of your control, and your guests are free to rate their stays as they see fit, and there are all sorts of reasons why you could miss out on a 5-star review. Even if you put in a lot of effort to provide a great guest experience, keeping a property rating of 4.8 to 5% may seem difficult, but this can readily be done if you consider the factors that guests must rank for. Some guests make mistakes or don't understand how to use the rating system. You may think selecting the right amount of stars is quite simple, which it is, but mistakes do occur, and you can have 3 1-star reviews in your Airbnb career, and in all 3 instances, the written review could be quite positive and you don't receive any negative private feedback. Obtaining Superhost status creates instant trust and separates you from the masses. A great benefit is that it helps your conversion rate and allows you to charge slightly higher rates. Furthermore, it elevates your hosting as Airbnb continues to provide the best service, seeking to retain your Superhost status. It's absolutely worth striving for and a badge of honor every host should shoot for. It may seem like a lot of work, but if it were easy, then everyone would do it, right? Superhost status will better your business and put you in the top tier of property management, so even though it'll take some time and effort, it's definitely worth it in the end. Make sure to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next video, but one thing I must remind you is that investing in Airbnb is more than just trying to become a superhost as fast as possible. That's why we've put together an entire playlist here that you must watch next in order to get the results you want from your Airbnb property. So I'll see you over there.